Welcome to the Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. Today, we are live on the air from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., asking for your financial support and sharing the great work of various ministries, authors, speakers, clergy, and local radio hosts that impact our local Charlotte community. Carolina Catholic Media Network is 100% listener supported, and we need your financial support to continue broadcasting the truth of Jesus Christ. Call 1-800-857-2909. That's 1-800-857-2909 to make your tax-deductible pledge. Operators are standing by right now to take your call, or you can donate online at carolinacatholicmedia.org. Thank you for your loyal listenership. We hope you enjoy this special Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon program.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to day number 2 of the Carolina Catholic Media Share-A-Thon here on 1270 AM WCGC. In addition to that, we are also broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook, and so we are so very blessed and glad that you have chosen to join us here for this Share-A-Thon. And we do bring you, we interrupt the EWTN programming for the next 12 hours at times to bring you some wonderful local programs and some awesome content. So yesterday we had the opportunity to talk with a bunch of amazing people, and that was before we jumped on the air. So we're going to spend the first couple hours of our Share-A-Thon here playing some of these interviews that we did yesterday and encourage you to donate. So these are a little bit raw, folks. I just give you that warning. They're unedited. So if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube and listening, you may hear some of that. But we're excited to be able to bring you these awesome interviews. So stay tuned here. We're going to play them in just a minute.
All right, in 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special live Share-A-Thon here on Carolina Catholic Media Network. My name is Bill Snyder. It is wonderful to be with each and every one of you. We're going to be live for the next 36 hours here on Carolina Catholic Media, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on 1270 AM. We're going to be featuring a ton of live local hosts, guests, speakers, authors. We are so excited to be joined by all of them right now. And we're kicking this off with a wonderful person. His name is Ed Billick, and Ed is going to be joining me right now via Zoom. So Ed, welcome to the Carolina Catholic Media Share-A-Thon. Thank you so much for being here.
Bill, good morning to you. Good morning to all of our listeners, whether you're listening on 1270 or YouTube or Facebook or just Bluetooth in your car. It's great to be with you, Bill, and good morning on this wonderful day.
Yeah, it's just great. And, before we get started with the interview, let me just remind people that they can donate. I know they just heard the bumper and everything, but they can donate by calling 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909 is the number to donate right now to the Carolina Catholic Media Network. But Ed, you are a co-host of one of the programs on our show called Faith and Sport. So maybe you just want to talk a little bit about the importance of Catholic radio, how you got involved in Faith and Sport and Carolina Catholic Media Network.
Well, mutual friend of ours through St. Matthew Catholic Church here in Charlotte hooked us up. And it was John Aquaviva, Dr. John Aquaviva. He's a exercise professor down there at Wingate University. And he and I hit it off right away. And this is about 4 years ago. And we started out on Radio Maria. Now, when you talk to John, he even has past experience with faith and sport. But when you bring your Catholic faith and tie it into the world of sports, you open up all kind of new stories, all kind of new scenarios when you look at it through a lens of faith and sport and values. And the targeted audience is parents, coaches, athletes, anyone that follows the world of sports, whether it's professional, high school, college. And I tell you what, the guest list as well as the content is just super. And then we joined Carolina Catholic Radio back when it first started, and it airs weekly. And John is just the chemistry we have is really good. I'm one of two co-hosts now. Carlos Herrera is the other co-host, and I join him once a month. And we just recorded and we were on the air this past Monday and talked just a bunch of things. So I could keep talking about it, but I'm going to let you back to the question on it. But Faith and Sport with Dr. John Aquaviva, just a special show here on Carolina Media Network.
Yeah, and as you know, we begin this Share-A-Thon. We begin, with local programming. Local programming comes first here, right? Like, this is one of just a few Catholic radio stations that has local programming. Many Catholic radio stations. We were talking this morning, gave them off the air, that there's many different Catholic radio stations out there, lots of different Catholic content out there, right? We have tons of it. You can consume a lot of it, whether it be on, podcasting or Sirius XM or however you get your media. But the amazing thing is that Carolina Catholic Media is dedicated to developing local content that you can't hear anywhere else, right? So that's what makes us special. There's nine local programs here on Carolina Catholic Media. You're going to hear from all of them over the course of these 3 days. But, there's something really special about being able to have local community hosts in your community, get on the air and talk about issues that are pertaining to what's going on right here in Charlotte. And then also given that bigger picture, which I know something you guys do with Faith and Sport. You have a whole bunch of different segments. If you want to maybe talk a little bit about all the different segments you guys throw at people each week.
Bill, what's important here, it's, John and I do this as a ministry. Okay. And, this Share-A-Thon is very, very important for getting funding to continue running a radio station. One, running a media network, two, is quite expensive. So this Share-A-Thon, the Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon, is very important. I just wanted to say that, and we'll talk that here in a little bit, but the guests we get on are something local. We've done some work with Charlotte Catholic High School. We talk some of the local sports, and then we address some of the parents' concerns here locally, and, attending your kids' games, behaviors that are acceptable, not acceptable. John gives wonderful examples and stories throughout the country where there's lessons to be learned. And local is so important. I mean, there are national shows and, of course, EWTN, which we're part of. But having the local flavor right here in the Diocese of Charlotte, Diocese of Charleston, here in the Carolinas is most important. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the amazing thing about the beauty of this, and by the way, I want to quickly mention that if you call in right now, if you call in at this moment in time, we have some Wingate University polos, right? So what we're asking for is $50 donation. If you make a $50 donation right now, we got to do it while supplies last. I'm not sure how many we've got. So
I'll tell you, I was with John the other day when he dropped them off. There's some dry fit shirts in there. Some of those are worth the $50 alone. And guess what, Bill? I filled my gas tank up yesterday and it was 75. So 50 is a small in today's new economy. So a $50 donation, folks. So what's the number, Bill?
1-800-857-2909. 1-800-857-2909, folks. That's the number. You can also donate online. Just say I want a t-shirt in the or I want a polo shirt in the description when you donate, if it asks you for a note. But make that $50 donation online, carolinacatholicmedia.org. If you are one of the first ones to donate, we will make sure that you get a shirt, because this is about building up our community too. And let's talk a little bit about that. This is about building up our local community right here. Radio in general, and you're a radio guy, you understand this, is a beautiful thing. Of course, we expand into the live streaming and we expand into YouTube and all those great platforms that people can watch us on. But when you talk about radio really is a community thing. It brings people together. It shares news. It shares whatnot. But when you're behind the microphone, you're able to talk about issues that pertain to people's lives. And I always like to say, for me, the microphone and the speaker really aren't all that far off, right? Because the things that we're talking about, we're also listening to. We're consuming the same things that we're listening for, right? Like, I want to be inspired. I want to be uplifted. I want to have my faith deepened, right? So as much as I talk on the radio or talk, about these things, I'm also listening for them. And so maybe you want to talk about some of the things that listeners can gain, and walk away with just by listening.
Bill, when you get up in the morning or throughout the day, you want your news updates. And I'm a big sports guy, of course, faith in sport. The scores, what's going on in the world of sports. You want traffic. You want to know what the weather is. Okay, that's this world. How about your spiritual traffic? How about your spiritual journey? You need some of that. And Carolina Catholic Media Network gives you that. And it may be a topic you're not even thinking about that day, but it will spawn maybe another or spur another topic that you say, oh, geez, that's right. I need to get back to understanding the gospel or the scripture, or here's this week's upcoming readings, or here's a relationship thing I need to work with Jesus and God in mind. We say to get joy in life, I say three things. It's JOY. That's Jesus, others, and you. And you need your news, sports, traffic, and weather, but you need to get some joy to enhance your day. Because at the end of it all, this is a spiritual journey. So Carolina Catholic Media Network definitely provides program to satisfy that.
Yeah, totally. And when you talk about, that hunger, right? It really is a beautiful hunger that people have, and a desire for truth, beauty, and goodness in the world, right? And so,
oh yeah, absolutely, and it satisfies that need. You got to have that. I mean, yeah, so many of us devout Catholics, and even if you're not going to mass every Sunday, you need a place to go to. And Carolina Catholic Media Network, I'm just looking at the webpage here, and going down through all the different shows. And to your point, Bill, a lot of local shows. But grab onto one that fits something that you're most interested in. And if you can't listen when it's on the air on 1270 AM, Chris and the guys back at the studio, they do a wonderful job of posting the podcasts. And if you're traveling, put it in Bluetooth and you can listen to the show anytime, anywhere. So when you're riding around or at home. So there's just many ways to get to this content.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you what, listen to the shows on the mobile app too. Not many local Catholic radio stations have a mobile app, right? Available on both the Apple Play Store or Apple Google Store, Apple and Google. It's available everywhere, right? You go there, you download, just search for Carolina Catholic Media Network. Either Google Play, Apple App Store. Search there, folks, and you're gonna find this app. It's got everything in it. It's got prayers. It's got a donate tab in it too, folks. So if you download that, you can donate right in the app. But beyond that, you can also listen, as Ed, you were saying, to all the local programs. Just tap it. There's a category for faith and sport. There's a category for the remnant. There's a category for an accountable Catholic. It's all right there. You tap it, all of the shows come up. It's mobile friendly. It's mobile responsive. So it's not like you're looking on some website, on your cell phone or something like that. It's super easy. And David Papandrea has really done an amazing job getting this stuff ready and available, and making it user friendly and accessible for everybody, right? I mean, this is just incredible when you talk
You know,
about.
I met David back at a men's Catholic conference, and we could talk that here in a bit. I don't know, 2016, 2017. He's a radio veteran from WBZ in Boston. And some of you folks from New England may recognize that radio station. It's the big AM affiliate up there. It's been around forever. But David has such a passion. He's got the radio knowledge, he's got the media knowledge, and what he has done and what he has developed here with his own drive and ambition. And really looking for funding. And that's all part of the reason for the Share-A-Thon. His passion for this, I am just impressed. I am totally impressed with what he has created here in the Charlotte area for all of us. And his passion it continues. But with all that, you need some funding. You definitely need funding. And that's the purpose of what we're doing here on the Share-A-Thon. I just wanted to mention Jason Murphy. He has a show. It's called The Obligation with Jason Murphy, a good guy. He runs the Men's Catholic Conference. So his passion, and a lot of these hosts, back to my buddy John Aquaviva, they do this out of the goodness of their hearts because they want to provide this kind of media, this kind of Catholic content to the folks here in the Charlotte area. So, you know, back to the Share-A-Thon and what we're really doing here, the Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon, Bill, is really looking for your help. We're looking for your help. You said, okay, $50 for a Wingate shirt. Heck, how about $150? I mean, you don't have to just give 50. We need funding to continue this wonderful ministry.
Yeah, let me tell you, folks, radio is one of the most expensive businesses to be in. Radio, TV, all this live streaming stuff. You know, what you're seeing right here with all this technology, if you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook, if you're seeing it, you know, on Facebook and YouTube, let me just tell you that, you know, you start adding graphics, you start adding, you know, backgrounds and music, and there's subscriptions, right? Like there's subscriptions for all kinds of stuff that, you know, that we have to have, royalty-free music and all of these things. They all cost money, you know, and we can just be really honest with you about that. They all cost money. And in order to compete in the world of media, you know, because here's the thing, Hollywood and, you know, secular media, right? You know, you turn on CNN or you turn on, you know, a Disney Channel or whatever, the graphics are stunning. They have the, you know, most incredible team of people working on it because they have the money to, you know, to put it forth. You want to compete, you've got to make things in today's world look beautiful, right? Beauty draws people in. It's one of those transcendentals we talk about, truth, beauty, and goodness, right? And so in order for the fallen away sheep, you know, fallen away sheep of the church to come on back into the fold, it's got to look beautiful. Folks, it takes money. It's got to sound professional. All of that goes to, you know, these subscriptions, all of it goes. So, you know, it's beyond even, I mean, I would love one-time gifts of $150 or $200, but let's talk about even the monthly donations, Ed, right? Like, how about $50 a month or $10 a month? You know what? Pray about what you can give, your best gift, right? The best gift. And the phone number is so simple. We have operators standing by right now. It is 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909. That's what we have for you, folks. And you can head over to our website as well, carolinacatholicmedia.org. carolinacatholicmedia.org is the place you can go to also make your donation online. But Ed, as we wrap up this segment here in just a few minutes, I want to thank you so much for your time, you know, before we head back to the EWTN programming. But thank you. And please, you know, share with us how people can tune in and listen to, you know, Faith and Sport each week.
You know, as you're mentioning the giving thing, you know, you got the collection basket or the direct deposit to your Catholic parish, which is so important. Just make this as an add-on. You get the Catholic News Herald delivered to your house. There's your print. There's your print media. This is your audio media. Okay. This is the place to go say, let me swing on over to Carolina Catholic Media, check out what's going on, or listen to my favorite show. And there's, you know, 9 local shows right now, and we're looking for more. So yeah, your donation is most important. Your sponsorship, if you have a business and will like to sponsor one of these shows, that goes a long, long way as well. All of us do this as a ministry. We do it because we love our faith. We do it because we want to spread the Catholic word to all of our listeners, whether they're Catholic or not, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, it's so important, your participation in this. And David's always looking for folks to even host a show. So yeah, it's a share-a-thon. It's a way to gain funds, but this thing can continue to grow. I mean, the Holy Spirit is definitely guiding us. So Bill, thank you for having me on this morning. Best wishes with this thing throughout the next 36 hours. And thank you for what you do for Carolina Catholic Media.
Absolutely, Ed. Well, thank you. And folks, I want to remind you that once again, you can donate. As Ed just said, please make a tax-deductible donation. Let's make that very clear, too. This is a 501c3, so you get a nice little write-off on your taxes at the end of the year for making a donation as well. You can do that by calling 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909, or online at carolinacatholicmedianetwork.com. Of course, there's the mobile app as well. If you're already on the mobile app, just hit that donate button. Okay, those are the different ways you can donate. Listen, right now we're going to take you back to the regularly scheduled EWTN programming for just a little bit, but stay tuned because we're going to have more amazing guests and amazing local hosts coming up here, all for the next 36 hours, right? We're part of the 36-hour Share-A-Thon over the next 3 days. Today, tomorrow, and on Friday. So stay tuned, and we will be back in just a bit. All right. And then so what I'm going to do again is click about 30 seconds of silence or so, and then we'll roll.
Sounds good.
And 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon hour here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. My name is Bill Snyder. I'll be your host for this hour, and we are so very excited that you are joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, 1270 AM. We are asking for your financial support here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. We cannot continue to broadcast amazing local programming and, of course, EWTN without your financial support. So please call right now, 1-800-857-2909. That's 1-800-857-2909. But I don't want to spend too much time giving you all the particulars, especially when you can go online and donate at carolinacatholicmedia.org, because I have a wonderful guest with me right now, joining me for this hour. His name is Joseph Wazaki. He is the Dean of the Honors College at Belmont Abbey College. So, Joseph, thank you so much, or Dr. Joseph Wazaki, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
let's start off by apologizing. We have one car right now, and I can't get to the office, so I'm outside. So if you're getting the nature soundtrack in the back, it's only because it's probably better than 6 kids waking up. So apologize for the birds.
Oh, no, absolutely no problem. We love having a little bit of that nature in the background. It certainly is soothing here in the morning. But I would love to just ask you a little bit about what is going on at the Honors College, and what is the Honors College at Belmont?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, just in a little bit of a way of my background and how I'm tied to the Abbey, and that's part of kind of the Honors College story. I was an alumnus of Belmont Abbey. I went to Belmont Abbey from 2000 to 2004, was in something called the Honors Program with my wonderful mentor, Dr. Thuet. And there was always a component of what we would call a great books education. But I've been teaching back at Belmont Abbey for 12 years now. I taught in the government department. But 4 years ago, I was asked to help found a new honors college, along with my old mentor, Dr. Thuet, that would be a really rigorous great books program that would be unique to Belmont Abbey. And actually, just this May, we had our first class that has gone through all 4 years of this new curriculum graduate, which was really exciting for us. So in essence, what it is, some of our listeners may know a little bit about some of the other great books programs out there in the Catholic world. For example, Thomas Aquinas College out in California, Wyoming Catholic College. My wife went to Thomas Aquinas College. And so we started with sort of understanding of this idea that a great books program, which is specifically a way to do liberal education well, by immersing students in the great primary texts, in philosophy and theology and literature, in history, and that these books are meant to teach us how to live human lives well. And that to do that well, you need to do it in a coherent way. So many colleges today, I think, have liberal arts curricula. They have core curricula where students, have to dabble, I think, take a couple literature classes, take a couple history classes. We don't really care which ones, just just be well-rounded. But our philosophy was that we ought to have a coherent curriculum where specific books are included because they speak to the fundamental human questions, those things that we really yearn to understand, that are tied to our happiness, and that we ought to sort of order those classes in a way that those books speak to one another in a coherent way. So our students take a 4-year curriculum. They begin with the ancients, the great ancients like Plato and Aristotle, Homer, the ancients who someone like Pope Benedict XVI said Greek philosophy is integral for the Catholic faith, right? It is integral for our understanding of the Catholic faith. They begin with those authors freshman year. They move on in sophomore and junior year to study Christian authors, scripture, St. Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas, other doctors and fathers of the church, and then modern authors. And then we have a very cool senior year that we call the Crises in the West, that really gets to the heart of the moral and intellectual crises of our time, so that students can be prepared to respond to all of those things. And we have a number of very interesting courses like marriage and the family, science and technology, and a number of others. And so it's this really cool curriculum. What is really amazing about the Honors College at the Abbey is that students can take that 4-year curriculum and pair it along with any major offered at Belmont Abbey, which is something that no other college in the country is doing right now. So you can do a 4-year great books program in the Catholic intellectual tradition and be an accounting major and be a biology major. And so we think it really gives the best of both worlds of professional, vocational, as we Catholics would think about it, vocational education, along with that solid Catholic liberal arts tradition. So yeah, we just had our first class to go through all 4 years of this new curriculum. It was really exciting, and we're about to welcome our largest freshman class coming in this fall. We have 32 students right now. I think we'll wind up with somewhere between 35 and 40 coming in the fall, which is really exciting. So,
Wow, that is so exciting, and it's beautiful to see how you are really bringing so many different facets of traditional education to students and to young people. It's beautiful that you're weaving, and you mentioned Pope Benedict, right? Pope Emeritus Benedict, and how he said that philosophy, that Greek philosophy, is so important for young people. I really like that. And so I would love for you to maybe talk a little bit about your summer program with high schoolers, because you just alluded that you've got a huge incoming class. And so obviously that's going to play a little bit of a role into this. But what does that summer program for high school students look like?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, our summer program for high school students, which any student who's finished freshman year of high school is eligible to come to, has been really integral in the growth and recruitment of students to the Honors College. It began in 2017. So we're in our about fifth, 6th year now. It's a 1-week program on Belmont Abbey College's campus. And it really is, in a way, a taste of Honors College life for our students. So what does that mean? Ultimately, there are three main components to this program. And it attracts a certain type of student. So the 3 main components are, first, we do 5 days, Monday through Friday, of great book seminars, 2 seminars a day, about an hour and a half. And we send out a book of readings ahead of time to the students with those readings. And they don't get credit for it. That's kind of what's unique. A lot of college programs say, well, we'll give you college credit. It's about a head start, about giving you skills that are going to help you in college. It's kind of the exact opposite in our program. Schola is the name of the summer program, Schola, S-E-H-O-L-A. And one of the translations of that Latin word is leisure. And so really the feel and the charism of our program is one of leisure, of coming together to talk about books and works that are really important for understanding human life. So we have three separate themes, and we rotate them through 3 years. That means that high school students can come 3 years in a row to our program and do a different set of readings and have different seminars. And we've had a number of students now, it's pretty amazing, who have come back to this high school program 3 years in a row. So this year, our theme is love and friendship. Last year, it was justice and mercy. And next year will be honor, humility, and the Christian life. And so for each of those years, we have about 150 pages of readings we put together in a beautiful packet. We usually begin with some Greek poetry, like Greek tragedy, Plato or Aristotle, usually some scripture, usually St. Thomas Aquinas or St. Augustine or some other church father or doctor. We do Shakespeare every year, and then we typically have some modern and contemporary authors. So, this summer, we're doing Plato Symposium on love. We're doing Aristotle on friendship. We're doing the Song of Songs from the Bible, St. Thomas Aquinas on charity, Much Ado About Nothing by Shakespeare, Pope Benedict XVI's Deus Caritas Est, which is an encyclical, and then a really awesome, I can't recommend it highly enough, a short story by an American author named Willa Cather called Two Friends. If I can get people to read Two Friends, gosh, it's just this amazing story about friendship, and a friendship that's ultimately kind of destroyed by politics and the sadness of that, which I think in our time is certainly something that I think we see happening. But yeah, so that's kind of the academic part. A whole lot of fun. We go to the Whitewater Center in Charlotte, which probably most of our listeners are familiar with. We're really lucky to have the U.S. National Whitewater Center right down the road from the college. We go hiking in beautiful South Mountain State Park, about an hour away, and we go into Charlotte for a museum. And the diocese helps us with buses, which is amazing. I should put in a plug for the diocese, and thanks to Greg Monroe, who I think you guys are going to hear from at some point, the superintendent there, for giving us some buses. So, and then of course, time with our monks, time set aside for mass every day, rosaries, vespers and lauds with our monks. I mean, that's in a way that at the heart of it. So, yeah.
Wow. Very unique and very beautiful for young people to get involved in this and just really experience life, right? I mean, this is a life experience they're going to treasure and carry with them for forever, because they've learned and gained this wisdom from all of these classical authors and amazing historians and stuff like that, and then you bring in all of the different social components of this, hiking, and just it's beautiful, and there's nothing really like it out there. And so if you're watching this right now, and you're a high school student, or you have a high school student, really explore this, right? Really explore this, for your child, right? How can people get involved?
Yeah. So if you, it's pretty simple in terms of the website. It's belmontabbeycollege.edu, our regular webpage, /Schola, SCHOLA. And we've extended the deadline. So we're about to have our record-breaking year. We have 77 students coming, but we have a whole lot of faculty, a whole lot of honors college students serving as counselors. So we'll have these smaller groups, something like houses, smaller groups. But we're still taking applications for this summer. So belmontabbeycollege.edu/Schola.
Wonderful, amazing stuff. And I want to focus just for a moment on what young people can do to participate, and the importance of Catholic media in their formation. We talked a lot about why the classics are important for them to read, and all the recreation and stuff, but they're also getting a lot thrown at them, right, in the secular media, and it's impossible for them to escape it, right? So how do we direct young people into media programs and stuff like Carolina Catholic media, and what appeals to young people about Catholic media and truthful media?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I would say a couple of things. I would start off with the most basic point, which is from Aristotle in his Metaphysics, which is, the opening line, the very famous opening line to that work is, human beings by nature desire to know. Human beings by nature desire to know. So we have a deep desire to understand the world around us, to understand ourselves, right? We think we know ourselves, but often knowing ourselves, as Catholic authors like Walker Percy, and of course people like Plato would point out, is one of the most difficult things. So there's this deep desire that all of us have, adults and young people, especially young people, who, as you say, are getting so much thrown at them. So that's there, right? We don't need to do anything to put that desire there. It's already there. And there are going to be all too many people who are willing to fill that up with really bad understandings of self-knowledge and knowledge of the world. And of course, we know, right, that the Catholic Church and its teachings offers us not only the truth, but a way to happiness. And so just in general, I mean, I think it's very important that, that we have alternatives in the media to what is being thrown out there. There's just saturation of information. C.S. Lewis, in one of my favorite, again, I can't recommend this more, in this wonderful sermon he gives called Learning in Wartime, which is a defense of continuing to learn things even in times of crisis, right? He writes it during the beginning of World War II, when some people would say, well, look, when we're in times of crisis, and certainly we can make that argument today, right? That there's so many things wrong with the world that, well, look, all we need to do is act. We just need to get out there. We need to be activists. We don't need to learn. We don't need to be formed. And his point is, look, from the standpoint of a Christian, there's always a crisis, right? There's always sort of heaven and hell and salvation. But he said, I love this line by him, right? He says, I never thought that when I converted, many of you know, right? C.S. Lewis, a big convert, says, I never really thought that after my conversion, I would still be doing so much of the same stuff, right? Like the boring everyday life stuff. And if you don't do those things well in ways that are edifying, right? Like whether that's like just your interactions with somebody at the bank, to change a new kid's diaper if you're a parent, right? That those things need to be sort of edified. And so for me, right, we're all consumers of media. And maybe we could, some people's response to all this is, well, we should go back to the old days where we don't have any electronic media at all. We sit around like monks in the old days with books. Well, most people aren't going to do that. So if we don't fill the space as the church, right, others are going to do it for us. One thing I would say specifically in terms of local media, I think that's so important, right? I think what Carolina Catholic Radio is doing in terms of local Catholic media is so important. And I think the reason for that, and as my students would know, give me 5 minutes, I'm going to mention my favorite author, who's Alexis de Tocqueville. The best way that we can get involved usually in a way that matters, and the best way we can inform ourselves in things that are actually within our sphere that we can actually do something about is locally. And I think very often, not just in politics, but even in the church, there can be a sort of distraction to get pulled into the big issues of church politics that are really beyond our control. And they often wind up just, sort of getting us anxious or angry. And, so many of my students listen to these podcasts about what's going on in the Vatican and, these types of Catholics and these types of Catholics. And I go, look, most of that's not really good for you. Frankly, you can't really do much about it. But in Charlotte, we have just, both in my teaching life and my family life, I am blown away by the Catholic life we have in Charlotte. We have an amazing diocese. We have Belmont Abbey College. We have St. Joseph's Seminary. We have Carolina Catholic Radio. It is thriving, and there's so much amazing work to be done. And so I think plugging in, just like in politics, right? If you want to get involved in politics, which seems so dirty, do it locally, because people actually are trying to get good work done. In the same way with our Catholic community, what can we do here? How can we serve the local church? That's something you can actually do. And Carolina Catholic Radio really plugs young people and old people in to that. So I think what an amazing blessing.
Yeah. Dr. Wazaki, thank you so much for joining us today on, this Share-A-Thon, this very special Share-A-Thon. It's amazing to hear all the stuff that is going on. And thank you so much for that awesome plug for Catholic media and Catholic media for young people. I think that's such an important thing. So folks, as you just listened to Dr. Wazaki talk about this, please, we need your financial support. Right now is the time to give. It's not about 10 minutes from now, it's right now. You can call 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909. That's the number to call to donate. We have operators standing by to take your tax-deductible donation right now. Also, folks, you can donate online, carolinacatholicmedia.org. carolinacatholicmedia.org is the website that you can go to donate as well. But we're going to wrap up the remainder of this hour as we toss it back to EWTN for just a little bit, but stay tuned. We have more amazing guests, more amazing hosts headed your way. So thank you so much for tuning into our Share-A-Thon. We'll be back with more live and local programming shortly.
Welcome to the Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. Today, we are live on the air from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., asking for your financial support and sharing the great work of various ministries, authors, speakers, clergy, and local radio hosts that impact our local Charlotte community. Carolina Catholic Media Network is 100% listener supported, and we need your financial support to continue broadcasting the truth of Jesus Christ. Call 1-800-857-2909. That's 1-800-857-2909.
2909 to make your tax-deductible pledge. Operators are standing by right now to take your call, or you can donate online at carolinacatholicmedia.org. Thank you for your loyal listenership. We hope you enjoy this special Sacred Heart Share-A-Thon program.
Hey everybody, and welcome into the Carolina Catholic Media Network Share-A-Thon here. We are live on 1270 AM. In addition, we are on Facebook and YouTube, broadcasting live to you and live streaming, all that good stuff. You can also get us on the mobile app and on live streaming pretty much anywhere in the world, folks. So it's not just here in the Carolinas, but we are blessed to be here on day 2 of our wonderful Carolina Catholic Media Network Share-A-Thon. And what we're doing right now during these first couple opening hours is actually airing some interviews from previous days that we did. Yesterday we did some pre-recorded interviews with some amazing local guests, and so we are sharing those with you. And the next one that we're going to share with you is Dr. Bill Pincus, and he is the director of the North Carolina Right to Life. I want to just remind you that these are a little bit rough and they're uncut, so this is certainly that way, but we're excited to be able to bring it to you over the air, and so we're going to head into that interview here in just a second. So bear with us, stay tuned, and enjoy this wonderful interview with Dr. Pincus.
All right, in 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Carolina Catholic Radio Share-A-Thon hour here on Carolina Catholic Media. We are streaming this live on Facebook, on YouTube, and also you are listening to us on 1270 AM WCGC. So, folks, we are asking for your support. We cannot continue to broadcast live Catholic local radio here in North Carolina without your financial support. We need it. Give us a call, 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909 right now to make your tax-deductible pledge. That's right. You can give us your pledge here on the North Carolina Catholic Media Network. Now, right now, I am joined by Dr. Bill Pincus, and he is the president of the North Carolina Right to Life. So, Dr. Pincus, thank you so very much for joining me today. Really do appreciate you spending some time on our Share-A-Thon to talk about, number one, why life is important, but also why Catholic radio is important for right to lifers as well, and all people. But why don't we start out with just what North Carolina Right to Life is for people who haven't heard about it before, and how people can learn a little bit more about you and your organization.
Sure. Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, North Carolina Right to Life is a pro-life organization. It's an affiliate, one of the state affiliates of National Right to Life. National Right to Life was started in 1968, prior to Roe v. Wade, because they saw the movement in the country pushing for abortion. So it was formed in 1978. Then Roe v. Wade was passed in January 1973, that infamous date. And North Carolina Right to Life was started in October of that year. So we've been around almost 50 years. Next year will be our 50th anniversary, and we're planning a big gala event for that. But we are dedicated strictly to the life issues, which includes abortion, infanticide, stem cell research, euthanasia, assisted suicide, denial of care issues. So we focus strictly on the life issues. It's interesting because Dr. David Osteen, he has a PhD mathematician. He is the executive director of National Right to Life. It was his mother and father living in Greensboro who started North Carolina Right to Life. And so we have two big branches of our organization. One is a advocacy group. It's a 501c4. It's not tax deductible, but we lobby the legislators trying to get them to pass pro-life laws. And we presented the North Carolina Assembly with 6 bills a year ago, January, at the beginning of the long session. 2 of them, actually 3 were accepted, but 2 got through what we call crossover. So those bills, and we'll talk about them in a little while. The other aspect, which is also so important, and this is where Catholic radio comes into play, is the education of our young people. They don't hear much about the pro-life movement in schools. I do think, however, and I've been going to the National March for Life in January for about 20 years, and I do think that the crowd there seems to be getting younger to me. So that's a good thing. But what we try to do is educate young people. We have a summer camp that's a 3.5-day summer camp. It's an overnight camp. This year it's going to be at Morehead City. It's coming up in July. It's First Baptist has allowed us to use their facilities and with minimal charge. So, you know, of course, everybody's on a shoestring budget. Catholic Radio is, we are. And it's so important to fund these organizations. It's just so important. Getting the young people when they're young, you have them for life. And I mean, that's kind of a play on words for life. But we do intensive education. And it's not all, you know, high school kids, young men and women need some playtime too. We're right near the beach. So we take them to the beach one afternoon. And we have movie night. And we have games and skits that we put on. So it's a lot of fun. We have some of the legislators come and speak to the kids. We have the local pregnancy care centers come and tell them what they do, how they minister to women and men in crisis pregnancies. So that's a very important thing. And registration is still open. I want to put in that little plug. And our website, North Carolina Right to Life, ncrtl.org, and there's a /tag Camp Joshua. Give you all the information that you need. The second thing that we do with young people is National Right to Life has a 6-week pro-life academy in Alexandria. That's where their headquarters is, Alexandria, Virginia. And it's for a college student. We provide a $4,000 scholarship every year, and we try to send one student, at least one. If we have the problem of more than one, we work to get those funds available. But it starts with the National Right to Life Convention. And the reason I'm doing this interview this morning is because tomorrow morning at this time, I'll be flying to Atlanta to attend the board meeting, the National Right to Life board meeting. I won't be at the convention because my son's getting married this weekend. But I am going to go to the board meeting, and that's where the National Right to Life Academy starts. So the young students, college students, come down to the board meeting, and then we take them back to Alexandria. And for 6 weeks, they learn the ins and outs, the history of the pro-life movement. We take them to Capitol Hill. We teach them how to lobby. We teach them how to use social media. So it's just a great experience. And the people that we have sent in the past are just on fire for life. And it is so good to see young people. You know, if you think the movement started in 1968 or, 1973, 50 years ago, a lot of us are getting older now. So we're looking for our replacements, and we're trying to educate and teach. So that's a main focus of North Carolina Right to Life. Catholic Radio comes into play because it gives us a chance to talk with the Catholic community. And the preeminent issue by the United States Council on Catholic Bishops is life. And the way I explain it to people, yes, there are a lot of things that are important. Immigration and taking care of the immigrants that come to the country. Death penalty really is not a good thing, because once you die, there is no chance for forgiveness or asking for mercy. Hunger, poverty, these are all great things. But I tell people a lot of times, if you were never born, you never have a chance to be anything. You don't exist. And I always like to bring forth the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Because when you look at that movie, and poor George, you go through the movie and you feel sorry for George, and he's getting just clobbered at the end, but all the town people turn out to support him. And then the angel shows him the town if he had not been born. And I think that we all ought to ponder on that a little bit, because every encounter that we make has an impact on somebody. But my issue is, if you were never born, you can't make an impact on anyone. And it's just so important. My mother was involved with one of the first White House councils back in 1977 when Jimmy Carter organized a White House Council on the Family. And I've been pro-life my entire life. I was part of the board for about 10 or 12 years. And then Barbara Holt, who had been the president and very effective lobbyist for 30 years, was getting up there in age and said she needed to retire. And I was practicing medicine. I'm an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. And I was getting towards the end of my career and thinking about retiring. And I said, well, this is a good switch. I can retire from the active practice of medicine and take over. And because of my background, I have a little bit of credibility when I talk about the life issues.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, thank you so much for pouring your heart and soul out to our listeners and our viewers right now. I feel your passion coming through, and I know that if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook right now, you're able to see your passion. I mean, it's palpable and it's beautiful. And there's so many different aspects of the right to life. You've talked about so many. And you're involved in so much. You've got so much for young people going on. You've got so much happening, and it's amazing. I want to ask you a little bit about how people can get involved, because I'm sure you need help with involvement, right? And I'm sure that you need more volunteers and more people doing stuff for you to help build a culture of life here in North Carolina, because this fight is far from over, even though that Roe v. Wade could be, overturned here in the coming months.
Sure. Well, thanks. One of the things that we do, and we have chapters in different locations. Some chapters are stronger than others. They are a chapter of North Carolina Right to Life, and they do more of the educational type of stuff because they come under that 501c3 umbrella. And these are IRS rules that I didn't make up, that we all have to live by. So becoming involved in chapters is very important, and we need to establish new chapters. We don't have an active chapter in Charlotte right now, and that's one of my goals during my tenure here as the president. I don't intend to give up anytime soon. God willing, I am getting a little older too. But there's a lot to do. And the simple thing is it's $36 a year for our membership. And what happens with this membership? You give us your email. We don't spam you. We don't sell the emails. We keep our list private. But if there's a legislative alert that I need you to call your representative at the North Carolina Assembly, or call your senator or your House of Representative in Congress, that is very important. And unfortunately, a lot of times we sign emails that come already pre-canned. Most of the times those emails get deleted. They may take a look at the total number, but it's rare that they read it. So if anybody ever asks you to sign an email, please change the subject, make it your own. You can paraphrase it. And the same thing with the message. Take the guidelines that they've given you, because then the legislators know that you've put some effort into it. You didn't just click the button and say send. And they just, politics is a crazy world. And I know more about civics now than I ever did before, more than I want to know. But that's a simple thing. It's $36 a year. We put you on our email list. We send you our quarterly concept, which is a 8-page color brochure. It tells you what we're doing, what events are coming up. So it's a great time to be alive. And like you said, you know, we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles with the Supreme Court case that should be decided soon. I've heard that possibly even Thursday night. A lot of times these decisions are handed down on a Monday or a Friday, and then the justices get out of town. Usually the difficult decisions do get handed down late in their term. So they are truly coming down to the last few minutes, and we need to pray for wisdom for the justices and commitment and for their safety too, because unfortunately the pro-abortionists have really made this a huge issue, and people need to be aware of their surroundings and walk away from a fight. Don't give them what they want. You know, everybody has a cell phone, and unfortunately our media, most of it is biased and would love nothing more than to try to blame violence and destruction on the pro-life group.
Yeah, Dr. Pincus, you know, talk about that for a minute, just and give people some tips maybe, because, you know, right now, the Holy Spirit, I would love to say when you're live on radio and you're on the radio, the Holy Spirit loves to make appointments with people driving in their cars all over North Carolina right now. And so, you know, what are some tips for people who are out there evangelizing, but also defending life in today's culture?
Well, one of the things, obviously, pray continuously. I mean, ask for intervention from our Lord and the Holy Spirit. It is so important, the power of prayer, and we underestimate that power of prayer. But when you're out there on the sidewalk, if you're, you know, in front of abortion clinic and you're praying, again, like I used to tell my troops, I was in the Navy for 8.5 years as a line officer, and we went overseas. I was telling the guys, look, you need to be aware of your surroundings all the time. This was in the 1980s, early 1980s. The Cold War was still going on. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to look where you can walk away, and you always want to de-escalate. You never want to get up in somebody's face and have an altercation. Obviously, you have the right to protect yourself if it gets to that point, but you should do all possible retreat, and live to fight another day. You know, the Lord said that you should love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And love conquers all. It is hard to love your enemies, but that's what our Lord's commandment is. So be careful out there. Continue what you're doing, persevere, because nothing that is done, you know, for the sake of the Lord is ever worthless. It is always worthwhile, whether we get that benefit ourselves or we have to wait till the afterworld. One of the things that we're hopeful is if this case, Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health, overturns Roe v. Wade, that does not make abortion illegal in the United States. The only thing it does is turns it back to a state-by-state issue, turns it back to the state legislature. That's where it was before Roe v. Wade. So North Carolina, unfortunately, will still be an abortion destination state. The law will revert to 20 weeks with the loose exception of a woman's health. And we will need to elect pro-life officials and pro-life judges and get the law changed. The vast majority of people want restrictions on abortion. We would like to see, you know, bills passed that would protect. The heartbeat bill in Texas is a great example. Now, their method of enforcement is a little bit different, but it's been effective. And 150 to 200 babies a day are saved in Texas because of that. So, you know, they've been over, I don't know the numbers exactly, what, 30, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 60, 180. 250,000, that's a rough number, of babies have been saved just since September 1st, when that law has taken effect. And although we want to abolish abortion with the one exception of the life of the mother, and that exception is an interesting ethical question, because the intention is not to kill the child. The intention is to save the life of the mother. And if the baby, in the case of a ectopic pregnancy, the baby is developing in the fallopian tube, that's a danger to the mother, and the baby will not survive. At some point it will rupture, and then we have a medical emergency. So in that case, you go in to protect the life of the mother, and the baby unfortunately dies. The other cases that I can think of is if a mother has a uterine cancer, and we've all heard cases where the mom said, no, I don't want anything done. I don't want the chemotherapy. I'm going to deliver the child. And unfortunately, that's a heroic sacrifice for the mother. I mean, she's giving her life for the life of the child. And it's interesting when people say it's my body, my choice. Yes, it is your body, but there's another body within you. And from the moment of conception, when the egg and the sperm join, there are 46 chromosomes that are different from the mother, different from the father, and makes each one of us unique. It's like your thumb, your thumbprint. It's like a snowflake. There's no identical snowflake. There's no identical thumbprint. You are unique. And it's the baby that causes all the physiologic changes in the mother. So as the baby grows, the mother's body changes, but it's because of the baby. It's not because of the mother. So again, these choices, we need to choose life. We need to respect life. God is the author of all life. And Catholic radio, by allowing different people to come into the program to talk about their issues, to educate people, is so important. And I would ask everybody to please support Catholic radio here in Charlotte. North Carolina Right to Life is going to be at the Eucharistic Congress, which is coming up August 5th and 6th. We'll have a table there. So please stop by, say hello, join our organization. We have a lot to offer, and we really want to make North Carolina an abortion-free state.
Amen. Dr. Pincus, this has been an honor talking to you. Thank you so much for taking so much of your valuable time with us here this morning to share with us and talk with us about the right to life and why it's so important. I want to remind our listeners, as you alluded to, that Catholic radio is so important in this fight. It is one of those really essential things in this fight. And so in order to keep it going, we need your financial support. We can't do this without your financial help. 1-800-857-2909 is the number. 1-800-857-2909 is the number you can call right now to make your tax-deductible donation. And you can also donate online at carolinacatholicmedia.org. Once again, carolinacatholicmedia.org. But folks, we thank you so much for listening to the Share-A-Thon. We really do hope that you tune in throughout the next 36 hours. We're going to be on the air each day, 12 hours a day. So really appreciate you listening and tuning in and out. Encourage your friends to listen as well, and to call in and donate. Little as $5 a month or whatever the Lord is calling you to donate really will help us continue our mission to broadcast the truth of Jesus Christ and save babies. So folks, we're going to return you to the EWTN programming just for a little bit, but we thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back with more special guests shortly. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Share-A-Thon here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. My name is Bill Snyder, and it's been a joy to be with you and hosting this Share-A-Thon here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. We're so excited that you can be a part of this. We're so excited that you can help keep Carolina Catholic Media Network on the air, online, and on demand. All you have to do is go to carolinacatholicmedia.org and donate online, or you can call 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909 to donate online. Folks, it's so critical that we keep Carolina Catholic Media on the air, online, and on demand, because it is one of those few radio stations, those few Catholic radio stations that has so much local programming. You can only find it right here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. You can't get it anywhere else. And we're going to be, as we have been doing, showcasing amazing ministries, amazing local people who are doing incredible things, not just in our community, but across the country. And so I am so very blessed to be joined right now by Carrie and Ken Davison. They are the founders of Holy Heroes. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network Share-A-Thon.
Thank you for having us. We're glad to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome conversation. So first and foremost, I just would like to find out, what is Holy Heroes?
Holy Heroes, we're a kind of a multimedia publisher. We do free online adventures. We publish books and DVDs, but our real primary flagship product are audio saint stories called Glory Stories that we've been producing for 15 years or so now.
That's awesome. Share with us a little bit about what those Glory Stories are and how best they reach people.
They're dramatized saint stories. So they're the true life stories of the saints, and they're dramatized, all sound effects and music, but none of this silly music that dads can't handle listening to. Nice classical music, everything to keep the story going along and keep kids interested. But they're all different casts. So children learn the faith by hearing the true life story of the faith lived out. So we started with Blessed Imelda, who's the patroness of First Communicants. She's Italian, so you have a lot of Italian accents there. And then we did St. Juan Diego and Our Lady Guadalupe. So you got the Mexican accents, and we've done John Paul II, St. Faustina, Mother Teresa, all the way up to Blessed Carlo Acutis, who's a new saint. He was beatified in 2020. Died in 2006, so he grew up in the same sort of high-tech world that all the kids live in right now. As I said, they're all different casts, they're all different accents, and they get to listen to the true life stories, what really happened in the lives of these saints. And it touches their hearts and then gets into their imaginations as they listen.
Yeah, that's fascinating. It really is. That these, dramatized stories can reach into the hearts of young people, and give them a model to follow, right? Give them heroes to follow. So, Carrie, tell us a little bit about how you guys, the why you guys founded this.
Why? Well, part of this is just raising your family. I mean, actually, all of this is just raising your family, and this is about bringing the joy of the faith into your family. And this is the same thing with, Catholic radio, is that we have so much secular media, everything, so many children's books that are secular, so much audio, video that's all secular. And, even good Catholics, it's hard to raise your children with Catholic ideas and Catholic theology and Catholic family life, because there's not a lot of it there, and you need to find it and incorporate it into your family. And that's why we started doing this. Glory Stories was, we actually found that our little children we used the words of the saints, and our little children started memorizing the words of the saints, and they started repeating it back to us. And we're like, this is absolutely amazing. So when you listen to a glory story, a lot of the dialogue, of course, not the ancient saints, but the more modern saints, where we actually have the writings, the actual words that come out of the saints' mouths are actually what they actually said. And so that really inspired us. And I think a lot of, and then our online adventures were that when we're raising our children, we don't know a lot. We didn't know. And we went around finding things out. And it was a lot of work to find out what is actual Lent and how do we practice Lent and how do we practice Advent and what do we do in our family. I'm not just talking about what happens in the church. Of course, that's, a big part of it, but also what do you do in your family? What does your family life look like? And prayers, how do you teach your kids prayers? What are the most important prayers to teach little children? And use their power of the ability to memorize, small children to, memorize their prayers. And so that's how this all started. And that's why we continue doing it.
It's so beautiful. It really, I'm so impressed with just that simple mission. It really is a simple mission, but it's a profound mission. And stories have the power, especially, beautiful stories and true stories have the power just to change hearts and move them closer to our Lord, right?
Yes.
Giving those people steps, young people steps to follow in. And so, can you talk a little bit about, some of the upcoming, do you have like upcoming saints that you want to, delve into and, keep doing, or, how many saints have you covered so far?
I think we're over 24 varying lengths of stories. Pope St. John Paul II was long. It was a double or quadruple length story because he lived a long time. Whereas, some of the other saints, they're shorter. So in fact, Carolina Catholic Media will be playing these stories weekly. They haven't announced the dates and the days and the times of the week, but we're happy to offer these because it's a fantastic thing for children and as my wife was saying, for the families. They remember the things that the saints said. A great example is Saint Joan of Arc. She's even Mark Twain made the comment, we have her life under oath 3 different times. There were 3 different investigations and trials, and we have all the transcripts of those trials and people who knew her testifying about her. So we know what she said, what she did. And in that story, we highlight, perseverance, because that's really what she did. She kept persevering over against all obstacles. And we got a phone call once from a mother saying, my young child got hurt in the backyard, fell out of the swing. His tooth went through his lip. He was bleeding all over the place. I had to put him in his car seat and drive him to the emergency room. And she says, and I'm driving and I hear him kind of whimpering, and then I hear him saying something. And she says, I pulled up to a stoplight and I turned down the fan in the car so I could hear what he was saying. And he was saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And she said, that was from the St. Joan of Arc glory story. He'd listen to the story. You don't have to explain it. The children think about it and ponder it in their imagination. So he applied it to his life and to what was actually happening, without going into this explanation to make it relevant. They're inspired by what they hear, and that's really what we've done. So we have a number of saints coming. The most recent one we did is Blessed Carlo Acutis. He died when he was 15, teen saint. He created this website of all the Eucharistic miracles. But that was written by a woman who's bilingual, English and Italian. And she did extensive interviews with his mother, with Blessed Carlo's mother, and the postulator of the cause, and the Archbishop of Assisi. So that this story is profound, because you hear a child, he lived his whole life as a child and a young teenager. So this obviously hits the children, and our eldest daughter said that our 3.5-year-old granddaughter is already going around the house quoting that glory story from what she heard.
Yeah, Carlo Acutis, Blessed Carlo Acutis, soon to be saint, right? Folks, if you don't know that story, I encourage you to look it up and listen to it on Holy Heroes, right? holyarrows.com. I mean, it's a fascinating and beautiful story of a modern day saint. As you mentioned, he died in 2006. So it's pretty incredible what our Lord is doing through the lives of the saints. And I want to ask you, a little bit about, obviously this is audio, and I think one of the most beautiful things about audio is that it leaves open the imagination, right? We see so much presented on screens. Even right now, we're putting this up on a screen, and people can see what's behind us, and they don't have to imagine the library. They don't have to imagine the studio. But when you are listening on the radio, like some of our listeners, they can't see that. So how do these stories leave open that imagination for young children to kind of explore and enter into, but still have the dramatized effect of the emotion and everything?
I actually think imagination is one of the most underrated parts of our bodies, of our minds.
It is our body. Angels don't have imagination.
Yeah. So
It's
this
part
is
of
a
our
part
body,
that God gave us to really enter into the spiritual life. And I think for children, we try to, the modern world tries to block that out because everything is video. And I like videos, and we make videos. Actually, we've made a couple that are excellent, but really it too much of it is very bad. And we've learned that, people now study it in psychology classes and everything, and they can tell you how it destroys your attention span, and how and in many ways it wrecks a kid's imagine. I'm not saying wrecks, but it's not as powerful as audio. If you have audio, you have to use your own mind to picture this. You have to imagine this. And I actually think it actually enters deeper into a child's imagination when it's audio, because they have to really work, and this really goes deep into their minds. It's kind of like hearing, I'm not saying this is the same, but you hear scripture at church when you're listening to the mass, and when you're hearing the scriptures read, you really have to pay attention and think about what's being said to you. And the same thing when you hear things, it's a different experience than visual. However, I mean video. I think visual is very, very important as well, because, for example, we just did a book. We also publish books, and we did it specifically for small children with the creed and magnificent artwork to associate the words of the prayer with the beautiful Catholic artwork, that
it was the creed. It was the creed in sacred art. So every phrase of the creed has a classic art, a piece of art zoomed in. It's a detail of every piece of art. So we're trying to introduce this beauty of the faith to the children and give them something to ponder
in their minds
as they hear each phrase.
So that's also activating the imagination. And so what I'm saying is it's very powerful, and it's often neglected, and or even if it's not neglected, it's not recognized.
I think every parent realizes, when you're a little child, you read picture books, and children like to be read to because they can't read, but they're looking at things, but they're still engaged in their imagination, as every parent knows. Then the child gets older, and you reach a point where you're doing read aloud, but you're reading not a picture book. You're reading Chronicles of Narnia or something, for instance. And the children just like listening to this, and they're taking what they hear into their imagination with their experiences and knowledge. Whereas when you're watching a video, you're getting the imagination of the producer or the director or the animator or something. Here's my imagined image. And you look at it and you kind of passively accept it. So that's what I think is so fantastic about audio. And that's why we do these glory stories audio, because a little child listens to it with their understanding of the faith. And the reason we're meticulous about the true life stories and the words of the saints is because I'm the dad in the car listening to this over and over again, and I'll hear it at a different level. Yes. Based on my experience and knowledge of the faith. And so these continue to touch people in ways that that you can't get with video, where it's someone else's imagination pondering.
Yeah, that's amazing. And let me tell you, it's going to be amazing that Carolina Catholic Media is going to be airing these on 1270 AM as well. You talked about that earlier. We're going to get you the times. We're going to get you the availability of that. But the reality is, folks, that bringing this type of media to the public is so important. And so I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of and the role that Catholic radio can play in the lives of young people as well, children, and what does that say, when a family is driving around Charlotte listening to 1270 AM, in addition to all the great content you're producing.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think radio is huge because I for decades now have driven around with kids in my car with the radio on, or with, well, in our case, family too, like listening to glory stories. But I actually think that that's part of the world that Catholics neglect, that they're in the car with their kids and there's something playing. And this is the perfect captive audience to get information into them in a way that they don't even realize this is happening, and it's becoming just part of their culture. So rather than having the radio on and listening to who knows what music, whatever music or whatever talk show or whatever's coming through that may or may not be a good thing, or maybe just nothing, listen to Catholic radio and your kids will pick up. They'll start memorizing the prayers. They'll start hearing these conversations. And it's just amazing what your family starts to absorb just from living your life.
I'm a convert. My wife is a revert, and Catholic radio played a big part in that. In that, you listen to the shows, you listen to questions and answers, and
Yes.
And commentary on things going on to kind of inform you about a Catholic worldview and what do Catholics really do, and why do they mean it. You find out that how rational it is and how it all makes sense. But so when we got into this a dozen or so years ago, we were involved in the Catholic Radio Association and things like that, because people are often alone. They're just surfing around in the car. This is the time when you can actually be alone and confront truth and reality, and being able to go through, click, looking for something that's interesting. Catholic radio is there. It needs to be there. It needs to be out for people to find it. And then when they do, that's the opportunity for you to get away from really the noise, get away from worrying about what you look like to other people and what other people may be thinking. This is, you can be alone in your car, listening, thinking, pondering, and that's when you really can meet God who's trying to speak to you. So we've always thought that radio is important, always played a part in radio. And as I said, in our conversion and my wife's reversion, the availability of Catholic radio and radio shows, that was a very important part of our conversions.
That's so awesome and so wonderful to hear. And so, folks, we need your support, right? Like, this is one of the biggest things that we need right now is your financial support to keep impacting lives, just like Ken was talking about, right? Ken, he just told you, right? Like, this was one of the things that helped him in his conversion to the Catholic faith. There are other people driving around Charlotte right now, listening to 1270 AM. You're one of them, right? And we need you to, give your best gift to Carolina Catholic Media, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, your best gift to us to help us keep Carolina Catholic Media on the air, online, and on demand, right? So the number to do that, 1-800-857-2909. Again, 1-800-857-2909. And make your best gift. Operators are standing by right now to take your phone call. And in addition to that, you can donate online. So if you're driving, you don't want to pull over and talk to somebody and pull your credit card out right now, You don't have to do that. You can go online when you get home, carolinacatholicmedia.org. Again, carolinacatholicmedia.org or 1-800-857-2909. You can also donate in our mobile app. Maybe you're listening in the mobile app right now to this Share-A-Thon Live. If you can go right into that donate tab and click it and donate right now as well. So Carrie and Ken, thank you so very much. Before we go, please tell people how they can find you, how they can subscribe, all of that good stuff. We want to make sure that we get people signing up to be Holy Heroes.
You go to holyheroes.com, and that'll get you to our website, and you'll see it's the store, but it's also access, as Carrie was saying, to our various online adventures that are all free, and we have weekly mass prep as well that you can just subscribe to. And if you want to get more information about Blessed Carlo Acutis, you go to holyheroes.com/Carlo. And we have a variety of things for all ages. We have a coloring book, which includes his kit. He devised a kit to become a saint when he was doing catechesis for kids when he was 12 or 13 years old. The Glory Story, which is a fantastic story. And then the author of that Glory Story also wrote a book for ages 11 to 15 that we just published. All sorts of pictures. This is real. You can see all the places he went. You can see the people he interacted with. His junior high friends were at his beatification. And it's just a fantastic resource. But the other thing I'm going to say is not only donate, but get a bumper sticker, because you never know who's behind you as you're driving along and they see AM 1270. Maybe I'll just check that out. You never know what's going on in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
To listen to on the radio, and they can go to AM 1270.
Exactly. Well, thank you so very much to both of you. This has been wonderful. And folks, again, that number, 1-800-857-2909, 1-800-857-2909 is the number to donate, or online at carolinacatholicmedia.org. Well, folks, we're going to return you to the network programming, EWTN programming, for just a short little bit, but know that we have plenty more guests and amazing speakers, authors, much like Carrie and Ken Davison, coming up for you. So we are going to take you back to the programming right now and be back with more local stuff in just a little bit.